Guys, welcome back to Talk Tuah. We are officially hosting the companion podcast to Miss Haliey Welch's Talk Tuah. We're your hosts. I'm Cam.
And I'm Peter.
And today we are covering episode 11, starring none other than Mr. Wiz Khalifa.
Pittsburgh-raised rapper.
Military brat.
Yeah, he says that he's been all over the place. He's lived in a lot of different countries thanks to his parents' military service. But we got to know a lot about him this episode. Chelsea and Haliey asked him plenty of questions throughout to get to know him better, for the audience to get to know him better.
And, it was fun learning about Wiz. We learned a lot about Haliey and also Haliey and Chelsea's dynamic. Most importantly to me, though, you're going to want to stick around because it got very paranormal.
Yeah, there were a lot of spooky moments that we picked up on.
And this is not a metaphor. There were literally Wendigos. There were apparitions in the frame.
A lot of stuff happening that, you might not have picked up on if you weren't super attuned to just the small details in these episodes like we are.
And I think one of the smallest details that we picked up on was the fact that Wiz was just blasting on his puffer the entire ep.
Yeah, and to commemorate that, we picked up some, pieces ourselves to have to partake in. We went to the dispensary earlier. I think it's pretty legal in LA to go to a dispensary, and they stuffed mine full of macaroni. There's a macaroni piece at the end of my joint, I think this is.
Like a literal macaroni.
Right.
Show that to the camera. You're going to get al dente high if you smoke that thing long enough.
Yeah, it doesn't quite taste like pasta, but, I think this is going to do the trick.
It should. I went for just a more traditional blunt myself. No rigatoni in here that I can see. But listen, anyway, this ep had a strong start, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say so? To me, it opened up with kind of a Chekhov's gun situation in which, we see the better picks, their sponsor. We see their logo in the corner of the screen, their cowboy boot.
How can you miss it?
It's kind of peppered throughout the set deck. And you see a gun in a play, it's going to go off. So this episode opened up with them doing an ad read for better picks.
Yeah.
Right?
There seems to be a nice promotion going on right now if you want to
And what'd you think of that,
download
Pete?
the app. I thought it was a pretty good ad read. I think Haliey's becoming more confident when it comes to delivering this ad information.
Yeah.
And then, I was more focused on the fact that when we got into the episode, the framing was really promising this time around. We've had our issues with the framing before.
It was, and I really liked...
I think they're firing on all cylinders technically this time.
I think that camera up, they've gotten him out of the picture.
Yeah. The neon sign, not as blown out this time. The Talk Tuah with Haliey Welch, they're definitely they fixed something with the exposure so that with Haliey Welch is more legible this time around. Although I think we both agreed that the Talk Tuah, the red on that could maybe have more of like a drop shadow, make it more distinct from the backdrop of the wood paneling that it's on.
I think so. Look, my biggest gripe with the set deck, why does it always come back to Chelsea? Why is she always kind of taking one for the team when we have these technical, just straight up flops?
Yeah.
I hate to say it. I really do. But, she's in the corner this time. There's a plant to her right.
Yeah, they spruced up her little corner.
But, she's in front of a window where you can see people literally walking around.
Yeah, it looked like something of a Nordstrom rack. There's like big clothing rack right over her head. Don't know what that's about. Don't know if that's maybe Talk Tuah merch being stored on this clothing rack, but it's a little distracting whenever it cuts to Chelsea's corner.
It looked like she was in a JCPenney's, man.
Yeah.
And look, I didn't want to go there. In previous episodes, I feel like we've been being a little harsh on Chelsea. But, we see, if you look at her frame, you could see guys behind her going about in the office and just like making coffee and stuff.
Yeah.
It's really unprofessional.
They probably got a Keurig back there. It's probably the highlight of the office. People coming in and out every so often.
You think they're doing pods on that Keurig, or do you think they're actually grinding up coffee?
Hopefully they're doing the more, environmentally friendly message or way of putting grounds in the plastic pods. You know about those?
Yeah.
The reusable pods. I hope that's maybe what they're doing. But anyway, that's all happening behind Chelsea. It becomes a bit distracting after a point. I think maybe if they could just put flags up over the windows behind her just to cover up any of the action, any of the traffic happening behind her.
But also, I think on Haliey's front, there was a little bit of I don't know. I'm wondering again, where's the phone handler? Haliey's phone was right on the table next to her within an arm's reach.
Yeah.
She is doodle jump at a, finger's breadth.
Yeah. And you have to wonder at this point if the phone handler is maybe on sabbatical. We saw in episode 10, the most recent one before this, that Pookie's phone went off in the middle of the episode.
Yeah, incredible disturbance.
Yeah, pretty big blunder on Pookie's part and the phone handler's part. I don't know where this handler is, but hopefully they come back soon. It gets to be a bit of a distraction again, and I'd want to be able to fully tap in for these episodes.
Besides that, the last part of the set deck, if I really just want to get a little nitty gritty with the administrative stuff,
of course,
was the Superwoman print of. Yeah. She had an H on her. Obviously, it's Haliey.
Yeah, I don't know if it's direct homage to Superwoman. It could just be any other female superhero.
It might have been fan art, but whatever the case, it was decapitated at the shoulders.
Yeah, the frame decapitation by framing.
Yeah,
where this piece of art was not fully visible in the background.
Yeah,
that was a little upsetting because I'd love to see the beautiful art that either Haliey made or someone made for her.
Well, we do get to it, right? All it takes is a moving camera and maybe that guy back.
Yeah, later on in the episode, there is another roaming camera moment where it cuts to a shot, pretty chaotic shot where a lot of movement, but then it's like a wider shot of the room and you do see the full framing. And I thought it was a nice painting.
But it's interesting because it's kind of a crazy theme where it's like through a person doing a bad thing, you get a good result. It kind of, I don't want to get off on too crazy of a tangent, but a story which is a little bit in zeitgeist, Last of Us.
Yeah.
The end of it, no spoilers, but it's a guy doing a good thing with a bat.
No, it's a pretty unequivocal bad thing that he does at the end of it.
Bad thing that has a good outcome, and then the second game and then season is someone doing a good thing with a bad outcome.
See, I haven't gotten to the second game
or it's like flipped or something.
Okay.
I don't want to get too off on that because it's a little out there, but look, I think this episode started with a, after that firing from the Chekhov's gun, they went right into, being very kind to their guests. They got Wiz a rolling tray. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it looked like a rolling tray that it's Talk Tuah branded, and then it looked like maybe mouse pads. I don't know if Wiz is a big PC gamer or just does a lot of stuff on the computer, but they were Talk Tuah looking mouse pads, I believe is what they were, that Chelsea brought over. It was a pretty thoughtful gift, and it turns out that I think there's only 2 of those in circulation, where Haliey was the only other one who has a Talk Tuah rolling tray and mouse pads. So that was a pretty thoughtful gift, I thought.
And then after that moment of giving them the gift, Haliey asks Wiz if he has his own wheat, and I thought that was a bit of a Trojan horse moment.
Okay.
Did you kind of get that? Because he immediately jumps on it to talk about his own weed on her show, which I'm a little like...
Yeah, you think the producers maybe arranged for that to happen, or maybe Wiz had something in his rider?
I think there was probably a clear cut around there, and
I guess
maybe
it's not far-fetched.
Maybe she didn't mention it, and he got a little upset.
Upset that she didn't bring up the question, even though she did?
Well, before her not bringing up the question, and then they made it, and they go back and ask the question so he could be all happy.
Yeah, I mean, he jumped on it, and I think it was useful to learn about Khalifa Kush. I think maybe the branding there could be a little bit better, because when I heard Khalifa Kush, I kind of got it mixed up in my head with Califia coffee, which I love. Super tasty coffee.
It's great.
I actually have some in the fridge right now.
I'd love to try it tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure thing. I mean, first thing in the morning, I think we should probably, edit this episode, and I'd love to share some coffee with you.
Well, look, we learn a little bit about Wiz's kind of childhood upbringing, if you will.
Yeah.
He mentions that his parents were in the armed forces.
Yeah.
He's a military brat.
Yeah.
But most importantly, the moment I want to get to was when he said he kind of grew up in this area. He said it was kind of Germany.
Yeah, well, he said he's lived in Japan, and then he said he's lived in Germany, and then he quickly backtracked, and he said Germany, England, that kind of area, England kind of area, I believe, is the terminology he used, which...
He said it was, a Germany, England area, which...
begs the question, what exact area was it? Just because there is quite a bit of mileage between England and Germany.
You have Portugal.
These are definitely large powers in Europe.
Spain, France, Italy.
Yeah, there's Luxembourg, there's the Netherlands and Belgium. So there's a lot of turf to be covered there that I don't know where exactly. I don't know if it's possible to pinpoint where Wiz grew up, where his parents may have been stationed, but I think that would be useful if he ever comes back on to maybe address that.
Now, look, Europe has always had hotly contested borders, right?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, kings have fought wars looking to expand their territories here and there.
Entire empires have risen and fallen over the matter.
But the fact is, countries are defined, and the UN legally recognizes borders of countries. So for Wiz to say that he lived in a kind of area between England and Germany that doesn't have quite a name, what do you think he's kind of getting at here?
I mean, there's the Sudetenland. That was a big hot matter in the late 1930s. But I mean, I don't know. It's tough to picture.
Do you think any of his discography could be a clue there? Black and Yellow.
Yep.
Do you feel like that could actually be alluding to the flag, or do we just want to take that for granted that's Pittsburgh?
Okay, well, he did say that it was definitely a song, a tribute song for Pittsburgh, but actually that is compelling, that black and yellow are big colors in the German flag. I wasn't even making that connection, but I do think, yeah, I mean, that could be a hint. I mean, maybe he's got dual citizenship, like he feels like he's a citizen of both Pittsburgh and Germany, England area.
Well, I guess here's the thing for me. This is the first time we catch him in a lie this episode, and
it wasn't the last.
No, he gets a little duplicitous the longer this goes on, and we're going to get to a point where Chelsea absolutely busts his balls, catches him red-handed.
Yeah, there's a moment where Chelsea, traps him in a lie. Earlier in the episode, Wiz gets asked, "What's the craziest thought you've had while high?" And he gives some one-off answer like, I was at Coachella with my mom. We were both on shrooms, and I just was thinking about how I used to be connected with her, which, granted, it's a pretty heavy thought. It's pretty deep.
Don't forget the umbilical cord. It makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it does literally, like, he was physically connected to her, which I think you were to your mother too?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure by all accounts I was to my own mother. But, that deep thought was actually a bit of a fib, because later on in the episode, Chelsea, rewinds the tape.
Now, hold on. Bit of a fib or outright damning lie?
You could swing me either way, because, I mean, what Chelsea catches him later on when she rewinds the tape and asks him again, just out of the blue, what's the craziest thought you've ever had while high? He says that I could ever become a famous rapper. So, right, which is it, Wiz?
That's pretty clashing, right?
Yeah.
From being connected to your mother or having a career in music? I mean, did he feel like his first answer wasn't strong enough, so he had to kind of retrace his steps and hope that they would edit it out?
Yeah, he didn't get enough of a rise out of Haliey or Chelsea that he thought that, oh, man, they're giving me a second shot. Might as well knock this one out of the park. And yet, that wasn't even much of an out-of-the-park hitter. And it's just Haliey and Chelsea were both like, oh, Wiz, like, you did it. Like, it's not that crazy of a thought.
Yeah, and here's the thing I wonder, right, is if he went into that moment thinking that Haliey was giving him a chance to kind of, rewrite the story. But in reality, she was testing him. I think the whole thing was so well done.
Yeah.
Because, again, they were talking about tattoos. Haliey asked Wiz about his tattoos. He said he's covered all over. I was waiting for Wiz to ask Haliey back about her tattoos. She's been getting a couple pieces. And then Chelsea kind of came in, and I thought she was throwing the whole conversation off, right?
Yeah.
But in reality, she was testing Wiz, and he fell right into her bear trap. And I think that moment was really telling.
Yeah.
Because here's a guy from in between Germany
and England kind of area.
Now, giving us two different realities.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of wondering, what else do we not know about the guy? Look, he was raised as a military brat.
Yeah.
Were his parents in the CIA?
They could have been doing special ops over in some European region.
Yeah, they could have been Luxembourg commandos for all we know.
Yeah. I also found it interesting that his two sides of his lie of his craziest thought while high were relating to his mother and rapping, because he also early on in the episode is asked, "What's your favorite food?" To which he responds, "Oh, it's got to be my mom's spaghetti."
Yeah.
Which that was, I don't know if you know much about rap, but Eminem, Detroit-based rapper, has a famous bar in one of his songs. I believe it's Not Afraid. Or no, is it? Or Lose Yourself. Might be Lose Yourself.
Yeah.
Where he raps about throwing up his mom's spaghetti on his sweater when he's going off to freestyle at an event.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought this was maybe Wiz dropping a hint that he's trying to start a feud with Eminem.
I think he's trying to start some major beef right now.
He's saying Eminem's pasta might be fucking disgusting, but my mom's...
He's saying it's nasty. He's saying he can't get high off that.
Yeah. But Wiz's mom's is saying... He says that he wolfs it down.
Yeah.
It's his favorite food.
He even said if he were to die, that you give him one whiff of that, boom, he's back to life.
Yeah, it's a bit of a resurrection.
Look, I think this could maybe be bigger than, the Kendrick Drake beef.
Yeah.
Even.
I mean, coming on Talk Tuah, the huge podcast at the moment.
Shots fired.
Yeah, to just use this platform to, start something bigger with Eminem. I'm interested to see where this leads.
Now, of course, I think the first kind of, I want to say maybe like 8-9 minutes were a little, I think they were feeling each other out.
Yeah, they were steadying the ship.
And it wasn't until I think they had their Taco Bell moment of bonding that the energy really shifted in the room.
Yeah, I was excited to talk about this moment too.
You might need your macaroni blunt for this.
Yeah, let me, if you don't mind lighting me up again.
Yeah, I got you. Hold on.
Okay, thank you. So they get on the topic of Taco Bell, which they both share a love for, and you can just see Haliey's eyes light up at the mention of her favorite fast food chain.
And I wrote down that the Crunchwrap Supreme was her favorite taco. Yeah, did you also clock that?
Yeah, I clocked that as well. I had that written in my notes. But Wiz, he agrees. But he does love the cheesy gordita cheesy gordita crunch. Don't get my G's and C's mixed up.
Look, man, I know that Haliey is a fiend for Taco Bell, but I can't do it, and here's why.
Okay.
The last time I went, I got a 5-layer crunch wrap or 5-layer beefy burrito. 5-layer whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
I got a lot of those on the menu.
No, hold on a sec. First bite, teeth sink into this thing. Nothing but beef. I'm thinking to myself...
Is that bad?
Well, hold on.
Okay.
I'm thinking to myself, let's count it on our hand right now. There's the beef. Second bite, nothing but guac.
Yeah. So that's where the problem is.
Third bite, nothing but beans. Fourth bite.
Is it the rice?
It might have been sour cream.
Sour cream, okay.
And then the fifth, I can't even remember.
There should be rice in there somewhere.
That was probably the rice bite, but it wasn't properly mixed. So I just hope that Haliey, when she goes to Taco Bell, I don't know if she's ever had this problem. I don't know if this is just an LA thing. Maybe we do it different here in the City of Angels, but it kind of turned me off from Taco Bell. So when I hear them bonding over it, it just kind of makes me think, damn, what are you missing now? Yeah.
Well, you might be missing the Cinnabon Delight. I think they're or Cinnabon balls. They're Cinnabon dough filled with vanilla icing, which I think are delicious. I think Wiz, I don't know if he has quite the stomach for it. I think they're maybe too sweet for him. I actually was talking with some coworkers the other day. One of my coworkers got mixed up between the Cinnabon balls and the cinnamon twists, which I think is a common mix-up when you're talking about dessert items at Taco Bell. But I don't even think I don't think they were mixed up on that. I think they were both agreeing that the Cinnabon balls might be, they're definitely a guilty pleasure at Taco Bell.
Yeah, and I think Wiz kind of confessed that his guilty pleasure when he smokes up is just fruit. Yeah. He eats a lot of pineapple, oranges. I think he's pretty healthy. He beat the munchies allegations. He said he doesn't really snack on food, whereas Chelsea said that when her and Haliey get high, there's nothing more she loves than a sweet treat.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Well, Well, again, I'm not much of a smoker, but I guess I could be craving a sweet treat after this. I think that's a reasonable thing to want. I like sweet treats most of the time, so I can't imagine my taste would be against sweet treats after I light up.
Now, hold on a sec. I want to just bring us to, before we really move on, this was the first incident of the ghost setting, guys. Around 5 minutes and 53 seconds.
Yeah.
You can see what is clearly some sort of an apparition.
Yeah, you're not going to want to miss this. You're going to want to pull up the actual episode 11 of Talk Tuah, and go to this time code. What? Can you repeat that, Cam?
Yeah, guys, it is 5 minutes and 53 seconds.
Yeah.
Now, this phantom kind of appears in the...
I believe it's a window.
Is it a window or a mirror?
Look, I think we can see through it enough. I think we see
There's
chair
some kind
maybe
of
out on a balcony.
There's a wicker chair, which is
Maybe it's
clearly
another
not in the
room.
studio, so it's not reflecting that, but it is refracting this kind of light and the Talk Tuah sign. So,
and we see just by Haley's head some kind of moving shape in the reflection.
Well, that's moving, and then we also see the apparitions outside the other windows with Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Wiz.
some of those might have been people getting their Keurig coffee, but I'm
They
sure
were
that some of them
were customers at the
Nordstrom rack.
rack. Yeah.
But I think some of those could have been apparitions. There were definitely a lot of moving shapes and blurs happening just
that are just
Chelsea's
downright
head.
accounted for. And listen, while we're talking paranormal, let's just get into it a little bit. In the middle of the episode, there were voices inside the studio that were totally unaccounted for. There were no subtitles.
They were coming from behind the camera. I think it was, maybe diegetic VO of. Yeah, I think that might have been other men in the studio. I could be wrong.
Well, it was revealed that it was Wiz's. Some of them were Wiz's crew, but we don't know everyone.
Yeah, not everyone was accounted for sure. I think there were. I would wager there were maybe like upwards of four voices behind the camera, and I can't imagine Wiz is rolling up with more than three of his team members.
Well, look, I'm starting to wonder, is the studio built on ancient burial ground? Is this cursed soil,
It could be.
Because look, the thing is, these apparitions visit the studio.
And we
truly have no idea what it is, and then there's a couple moments that just couldn't be more serendipitous, right? And I think the biggest one for me was when they're talking about JoJo Siwa as a missing person, and then boom, like fucking lightning, man.
Yeah. There was a bit of a shake.
It was like a thunderclap from God that was just saying, like, here I am.
Yeah. I'm looking after your friend JoJo.
But, and we also see kind of like another apparition in the mirror.
Yeah.
But the thing for me that felt the most haunting about it is knowing that, look, their studio is in Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
Beverly Hills is definitely the heart of Hollywood, right?
And probably the heart of Los Angeles by extension.
Well, in terms of also capitalism, right? It's its own city.
Yeah.
For anyone that's never been to LA or California, here are just a couple quick things to set the scene.
Yeah.
All the parking there basically is paid parking. You need, if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Most of it's permit parking.
A lot of it is permit parking.
So I'm talking like streets, like
good luck finding a curb.
If you even want to go to a park in Beverly Hills, you have to literally, how do you do it? I mean, it's so hard to find parking because you need a permit, and you get a permit by living there.
Yeah.
AKA being a citizen of Beverly Hills. Why do they do that?
It's probably they vote for these ordinances, yeah.
But the ordinances kind of prevent anyone from a potentially lower class.
Outsiders.
Yes, from coming in because it's so hard they can't drive in.
Yeah, unless they're apparitions. And then they can float into the premises.
Well, yes, that, but also, okay, so that's just a little bit about Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I want to get at is the fact that LA itself is, so that's cursed capitalism.
Yeah.
But then the other cursed thing, which I think kind of relates to this in a really doomed fucked scenario, is the amount of dead/missing blondes over the course of Hollywood's history.
Yeah, a lot.
There's a good deal of them.
Yeah. We've got Marilyn Monroe. Or she was accounted for.
Well, Marilyn Monroe, people say she died of barbiturates, but is that true? Do we know?
I guess
they were found in her bloodstream. But look,
I think that's what the autopsy reported, but you never know.
I mean, that coroner could have been paid out of pocket. We don't know. She was hanging around the Kennedys,
the DiMaggio folks.
I think gangsters have a lot to do with it, but yeah, over the course, even like you go to the first kind of like dead blonde in Hollywood, and I think this is really telling, right?
Yeah.
With Haliey's position, I mean.
Okay.
Forgive me, the blunt is kicking in a little bit.
You're phasing out.
Wiz style.
Dang.
No, I'm fighting to connect this, so just bear with me here.
Lay the chart out.
Peggy and Whistle.
And Whistle, yes.
I guess you could say the first starlet that moved to Los Angeles to be a performer.
Yeah.
Of some sort, right? Stage, actress, whatever.
Yeah.
She came out here, and it was kind of the thing that a lot of people get out here. You come out here hunting for your dream. You find nothing but corruption, delusion.
And not just in city government.
It's inescapable dread and sadness, and unfortunately, it led Peggy to jump off the Hollywood sign.
Yeah.
To her death.
Pretty dramatic leap.
It's a city that sucks in incredible energies, incredible women, especially blondes. And again, this probably goes into some like Alfred Hitchcock, Vertigo type shit where it's like guys really want to project their perfect woman fantasy onto, and blonde is the perfect canvas, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's the attractiveness of it. It's also, blonde hair isn't natural, kind of like the palm trees in LA. So there's something a little artificial about it. But
there's a lot of through lines here, yeah.
But so I think the biggest thing is that Haliey is now the newest star that's come from outside of Hollywood to LA, to a place where a lot of other women who were in the same position
have just met, worse off fates.
And I wonder if there is some spirituality of them looking at Haliey and trying to guide her. Look, Haliey has a lot of this newfound fame. She's adjusting to the new, climbing up the mountain of
Hollywood and fame, success.
Sure, and a lot of that, a lot of unfortunately women have reached the top of that.
Yeah.
And found what's there.
Yeah.
So I just hope
their spirits of past years are latching onto her.
I think so, and I think that's what some of these apparitions were. I mean,
you think they're interfering with her podcast?
Not interfering, but it's like the thing of like when you're really manifesting or thinking about
interferences.
Well, there were technical interferences for sure,
and they were distracting when I was watching this episode. They were downright spooky at times.
Well, they were horrifying because these women met horrifying fates, and when you hear that thunderclap or the wailing of a Wendigo, whatever it was, did you not feel like there was some kind of essence screaming at Haliey, like that scene in Interstellar with a girl?
Yeah.
What's her name? Magpie.
Yeah.
Screaming on the window, yelling at Matthew McConaughey, and it's too late. Or no, it was reversed. Sorry, McConaughey was banging at Magpie.
Yeah, and then do you think these spirits are yelling at Haliey like, "Get out while you can"?
Well, here's what I don't know. Look, she has a lot of Southern tradition.
Yeah,
obviously.
Gothic horror.
Well, look, she comes in and she's a disruptor.
Yeah.
I think she's kicking Hollywood in the nuts. And I think she's saying, because Hollywood always needs kind of a sacrificial woman to have people project their things
delusions onto.
Yeah. And
quite frankly.
I mean, and look, if we want to go more recent, we could probably say Britney Spears.
Yeah.
Right?
She was a pretty notable one.
But it's the fact that like people build up in their head of what they think this person is.
Yeah.
Whatever. And then they're quite frankly disappointed when either they meet like Travis Bickle style, they get obsessed with these people. I think it's even worse now with social media where you can directly comment with people, jump in people's DMs.
Well, that's interesting because the talk of DMs came up between Haliey and Wiz.
Okay, let's tie a bow on this.
Yeah, let's put a big bow on it.
Because the spirits also, and I just want to point out real quick, the spirits also follow them into another ad read. So it wasn't just the studio; they are truly trying to talk to Haliey.
They become pretty pervasive at this point, where the spirits will not let go of Haliey or Chelsea. I'm a little afraid of Chelsea's well-being at this point too. Who knows if they're trying to latch onto her as well.
Well, she was, quite frankly, we'll get to this in that, but she was fucking bored. She was playing on her phone.
Yeah.
She was looking around.
I mean, I don't think that took her possession to require, though.
Really?
No.
She's not usually like that, though, so I wonder if a ghost kind of jumped in her body to just, get a couple rounds of Flappy Bird in or whatever.
I mean, she's not, like, talking to Haliey. Like, that's the exciting part of the podcast. I mean, yeah, there's definitely some decorum to follow when it comes to doing an ad read, but
listen,
it's not the most exciting.
I really want to break down the Roco ad, but what did you want to get to real quick?
Yeah, I wanted to get to the fact that Wiz is giving a relationship advice to Haliey, and he says to not worry, to not close your DMs, to like leave your DMs open when it comes to your relationship with Pookie. Like, definitely don't close off that avenue to maybe meeting other men down the line, which, I don't really agree with at all. I think.
Why not?
Well, because I think she should stay with Pookie. I can't.
Why do you think
that? Because he's doing all right. She said that he's doing all right, and they're in a happy spot. But
yeah, right now.
What do you mean by that?
Right now, they're doing fine.
Look, I already didn't agree with Wiz's analysis that she should keep her DMs open in case she needs to find another guy if her and Pookie don't work out. I don't need you chiming in with your own unhelpful projections of what is it? You'd like to see her with Matt Rife, right? We're back to this.
I never said that.
And we're back to our old stomping grounds. Yeah, I mean...
Okay, if you're just tuning in, I don't want to draw the battle lines at just I'm team Matt Rife. I'm team what's best for Haliey, and yeah. I truly do think that is Matt Rife.
No, I'm on team what's best for Haliey too, and I can see that it is Pookie.
Yeah, right now he gives her what he needs. Right now, he gives her security. He gives her.
And Matt Rife, what if the time comes and God forbid she leaves Pookie, gets with Matt Rife, and it's like for now it's good moment, and she leaves Matt Rife. Where does she go from there? She's already with the funniest guy in the world. What, you think that would be perfect? That relationship just works on the merit of him being fucking hilarious?
Yeah, man, I do. Listen, I do think that would make it work forever. Because look, how many times do I have to say one hand in the bird is better than two in the bush, right? If you know a guy that's the funniest fucking comedian of all time, and then Pookie. Look, Pookie's great. I think he's a great boyfriend for her right now, and I think he'd be a great friend down the line when she obviously gets with Prince Charming. Dude,
I think your own idiom's working against you there, because Pookie is clearly the one bird in Haliey's hand right now. Why would she abandon that bird for two in the bush with Matt?
Because he's going to have another Netflix special before you know it. He's going to have a Peacock half hour.
But what if God forbid Haliey blows it with Matt, and now she doesn't have Matt or Pookie? I don't know. Maybe she's having an off day and just doesn't laugh at his jokes as much as
would she not
he
laugh?
deserves that.
He's like the fucking king of comedy, man.
That's the one point that we always agree on. But
yeah,
so
you're going to sit here and just tell me to my face that Matt Rife is the funniest fucking guy in the world, which...
Of course.
Yes. And he's not right for Haliey. Jesus.
I just think there's other, prerequisites for having a happy, healthy relationship. And I don't know. I just see Pookie meeting a lot of these prerequisites right now. And I just am like...
Why don't you fucking hit this, man?
I'm not keen to just kick Pookie to the curb. That one?
Yeah, hit that.
That one's laced with tobacco, right?
Yeah, it's got a little bit of tobacco in there. I think you need to fucking hit that and chill out.
Cam's joint just burned me, singed my fingers.
Look, you're on roach duty right now because the fact of the matter is, I agree with you. Okay, Pookie is great. Okay, he's really what she's doing right now. He's her safe space. He's her Rock of Gibraltar.
Yeah,
but eventually,
that's near the Germany kind of area, right?
The Germany, England, yeah. Well, yeah. And that brings us back to Wiz. Look. I don't want to fight you here.
Yeah, I don't.
Because we were both haunted together.
I'm tired of fighting a battle that I'm obviously winning because things are just going so well with Haliey and Pookie, and I couldn't be happier for them. So if you want to keep fighting your losing battle, I mean, you can keep doing it.
All right,
it might be one-sided.
I'm waving my white flag, but the day that they break up, I'm going to be howling at the moon.
Of course, and you get your rights to do that. I'll probably be grieving, and again, Haliey, Pookie, just. If things, aren't working out, maybe consider a relationship therapist.
Well, actually, let me ask you this.
Doing anything drastic.
Well, Peter, let me ask you this, actually, guy.
Yeah, be my guest.
If Pookie is the man for Haliey...
He obviously is.
Then why is she so afraid to check his DMs?
Come on.
Uh-oh. Got you in a little mousetrap there, bucko.
What do you mean?
And before you say anything, consider the fact that maybe she's afraid... to look inside his DMs, especially his Snapchat DMs. Because of his pig ex, who's obviously Grindle.
You're bringing up the pig bitch again?
I think you're lighting it from the wrong way.
Oh, yeah.
You're lighting
right.
the macaroni side.
Okay, yeah, I always forget the right protocol for this.
Look, in this episode, Haliey said that she was afraid to check Pookie's DMs when Wiz was like, oh, that's one key to a healthy relationship. Don't look inside the DMs. If she was with Matt Rife, the only thing she'd see in the DMs were probably messages from comedy agents and managers saying, oh, we can't wait to give you your frickin' FUBU special. Listen.
Look, I'm sure he's got plenty of girls responding with crying laughing emojis to any story he posts. But
let me ask you this. But Pookie's DMs, I think there's one sinister person that's probably his own aberration haunting his DMs. Grindle.
Are you talking about Pookie's ex?
She's trying to ruin Haliey and Pookie's love life. She's Grindle from Beowulf.
Yeah.
I think. She's a Chilean commando trying to overthrow democracy in the Southern Hemisphere. Yeah. She's everything I fear the most. She's the aberration in the window. She's the ghoul knocking at your door.
She's everything wrong with this country. I mean, she's trying to break apart.
It's a Lovecraftian,
beautiful, healthy couple.
It's a Lovecraftian horror.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it is.
Now, let me ask you a question.
Yeah, of course.
Let's just say that Haliey is afraid to check her DMs, which she admitted to Wiz.
Check Pookie's DMs.
Yes, and we're not making this up here. This is a serious matter.
Yeah.
Because as much as I'm on Team Matt Rife, I'm Team Haliey first and foremost. And if she's happy with Pookie right now, then let's make sure there's no foul play there. So if she's afraid to check Pookie's Snapchat DM, what are we not seeing here?
I think she'd be just as scared to check Matt Rife's DMs. You think he doesn't have plenty of exes thirsting over him? If Pookie's...
Look, I'm not worried about Matt. I'm just saying right now, Pookie, let's say that she's in his DMs.
If Pookie's ex from the depths of hell is badgering Pookie, I think Haliey, of course, wouldn't want to see that. But also, I don't think Pookie even wants to see that. I'm sure if Pookie's getting any of these messages, I'm sure...
block her. Okay, so block her, right?
Okay, but you can still see blocked accounts in your DMs, right?
Not if you don't care. Listen, do we fully know... Because this witch put a love hex on Pookie. If anyone isn't quite caught up with their love story, here's what happened.
Yeah. Run it back for them.
Him and this witch, this kind of wench.
Yeah.
They dated 2 years ago, and then they broke up. He started Snapchatting Haliey. And then this girl, this evil, wicked...
witch from the east.
Sure. She caught Pookie's heart back. And what did she make him do? She made him block poor Haliey on Snapchat.
Look, it was an awful time. Pookie clearly regrets it.
And then he broke up with her, came crawling back to Haliey.
It wasn't crawling back. Haliey is just such an open person that she was happy to rekindle. Of course she is, and
she's forgiving. But listen, I'm just saying, and again, I'm not even going after Pookie on this one. I'm just saying, this beast that we're dealing with... I think
you've got a clear agenda.
She's demonic.
Of course. But you don't have to muck up Pookie's relationship by continually associating him with her, okay?
But the fact of the matter is... leave her be in his DMs?
No, not...
Okay, so let's
get out of there, you wench. Don't keep doing this to Pookie. Whoever, if you're out there listening...
Let's just say...
leave him alone, for sure.
Let's just say you're their intimacy coach.
Okay.
You get in there.
Yeah.
I want DMs. I want to run the situation. I want you to break it down for me. You get in there. You look at Pookie's phone.
Okay.
You confiscate it from him.
Of course. Like a phone handler. What the phone handler should have done last episode.
She's in the DMs. What do you do? What do the messages look like? What do you have Pookie do? How do you rectify this?
Probably a lot of, hey, Pookie Bear. Hey, Kelby. Cool Kelby. Hey, Toots. You remember me. A lot of the generic shit, like, hey, you're going to be back home for Thanksgiving. Yeah. Which weekend are you celebrating Thanksgiving?
That's going to be like their Gettysburg. It's going to be brutal. And
I think, I can't imagine Pookie's texting back. If anything, he's probably texting back like, hey, I'm kicking you off our phone plan next month, so be prepared for that. I don't want any ties to you anymore. Yeah. What we once had is over. It's finished. I'm not looking back on that part of my life favorably.
I almost think he has to do an exorcism on his android at that point.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
The fact of the matter is, she is. It's like the evil fucking cosmic thing from Stephen King's It. You know, she's Pennywise, in southern form.
Pennywise cosmic? I haven't read it.
He was. I don't want to spoil it, but
okay. Sorry, I don't want to rip off that Band-Aid for the audience either. I'd love to read it someday, and I'm sure a lot of other people would too.
It's a great book. I mean, it's nowhere near The Stand by Stephen King, but that's a great story. Listen, I think that what we're dealing with is primal wickedness.
Yeah, of course, first and foremost.
And I think she really will stop at nothing to crush this relationship. Yeah. I casually threw out the model that she could be a Chilean commando.
Yeah, of course. You're going to circle back to that?
Oh, well, because I think it is fitting.
Yeah.
Right? She's a mercenary.
Yeah.
She's a hired gun. She's doing a job.
You don't think she's doing this herself? You think there's someone else she's a subordinate to another power that be?
Look, I don't want to go down this kind of fringe rabbit hole, but if we were to just lightly explore it, I wouldn't be shocked if there were some kind of puppet master pulling the strings of this
pure, unadulterated evil, devil incarnate.
I wouldn't be shocked if she were trying to overthrow everything that... Because, listen, Haliey and Pookie, what they have right now is love.
Yeah.
They have love.
And it's beautiful.
And I think that love is, we could say that's kind of like democracy, in a sense, right?
Okay.
Now, certain people don't like that.
Of course not.
And they want to bust that down.
There's a lot of bad guys out there.
They want to push their agenda. She could be a Blackwater Chilean commando flying in on an ass monkey to Kuwait.
Yeah.
That is just ready to help install, I don't know, the Caspian pipeline to divert some, I don't know, maybe 200 billion barrels of crude oil away from Moscow and towards America, right?
Yeah, I think that's possible.
Because we live in a world now where you don't need the consent of your citizens to wage war. You just need capital because you can hire private armies. And I think with love and online dating, maybe someone is just kind of utilizing this, as you said.
You think maybe the teams behind Tinder, Hinge, Bumble are sending her out there, this fucking wench, skunk, loser? They're sending her out to break up the power couple that be Pookie and Haliey, so that Haley's new Pookie app flops, and the people out there, the general population,
that's actually
is forced to go back on these bullshit dating apps.
Well, you know what though, because that would actually make sense. Because if we want to just pay homage to world history for just a second,
yeah, of course.
If we want to look at the United States' involvements in, people always say, CIA overthrowing South America, CIA always overthrowing places
pretty frequently.
But I think when people say, it's just like, we have to understand that the history it is real. And it did happen, but why did it happen? Because it happened in Bolivia, it happened in Nicaragua, it happened in Iraq, Afghanistan, Argentina. People went missing.
Yeah.
But why did it happen? What's the goal? Like if we can just break it down, deconstruct this so that we can analyze this, because I think what you said about the dating app makes a lot of sense.
Proxy wars in the Cold War to stomp out any left-leaning government or power movement. To
stomp them out. Why?
Communism.
Because capitalism is still competing in the general market with what? Communism, socialism, as the
love for humanity, which Pookie and Haliey have for each other.
And then I think after, the Berlin Wall fell, I think at that point they didn't need to sell capitalism, because even if you look at like the Great Depression, like capitalism was failing and it failed people. There was a huge market crash, and so people had to then sell socialism, and so we got all these cool projects in the US, like artists painting murals or like building crap and just putting people to work doing shit. That's socialism. All these projects, it's like, for public shit. It's not privatized. So, but anyway, not to get too far out.
Yeah, of course not.
On this macaroni kush.
Yeah.
But drawing that back to the Pookie app.
Yeah.
Where does that fit in? I'm a little... big dating app doesn't want a
Match
new...
Inc.? Is that the name of this bullshit conglomerate?
Yeah, and actually, you know what I think it is? It's the fact that they're afraid that Haliey's such an industry disruptor that her app can show the height of men, and on Tinder and on Bumble, Hinge. There's no way to verify that someone's 6 feet tall.
No, which I don't know if they're working on that. It could be coming any day now on those apps. But for right now, Haliey has coined and minted that technology, which is impressive. They tested it out on Wiz. It worked perfectly. He's 6'4". The app said that.
And I think so. That's almost though with like just tying it back.
Yeah, of course.
With like socialism versus capitalism, and it's like a world, and capitalism isn't. If socialism is working, we got to overthrow those regimes.
Yeah.
With private soldiers, military juntas,
all the usual tricks,
destroying them with fucking hyperinflation.
Yeah.
But then with Haliey's app, it's like now they got to play dirty, because that's a case of, oh my God, there's a dating app that actually works. Because think about all the people that talk about online dating. It sucks.
Yeah.
No one wants it.
No one likes it.
No one likes it.
It doesn't work for anyone.
So that is an interesting, actually, tidbit, though.
Wait, where did you meet your Pookie?
Actually on Tinder, so.
Yeah, I was just thinking I met my Pookie actually on Hinge. So we might be eating our words there, but I know that dating apps generally don't work for really anyone. For most people, I would say.
Yeah, and even if we're lucky, the fact of the matter is they suck.
They do suck. A lot of restless nights just swiping and swiping.
They're crap. Guys are forced to put their height in their bio because there's no way to verify it otherwise.
Yeah.
You
gotta pay for super likes.
Yeah,
which is crap.
So anyway, listen, it's like Haliey is an industry disruptor, right?
Yeah. This episode too, we learned that she's interested in starting her own strain of weed. Something unique to her own brand, which Wiz, made some joke about like, oh, you already know what the name would be, but I'll let you decide it anyway.
What would the name be? Is it that obvious?
Well, you had an idea, right? It was
like T. Haliey C.
Oh yeah, T. Haliey C. or Haley's Hemp.
Haley's Hemp, yeah.
And then there's also I think maybe Wiz was crudely implying like Hawk Kush. Because there's like a K at the end of Hawk, and it blends into Kush.
Hawk Kush.
I don't think that really flows off the tongue. So I don't know really what he was getting at there. But it was interesting to me because this isn't the first time that Haliey brings up wanting to start her own business. I think she has a strong entrepreneurial spirit, where last episode in her interview with Jake Paul, she says that she wants to start her own pickle company. Now she wants to start her own weed company. And I think that's
happening.
What was that?
I could see it happening.
Yeah.
I mean,
she's already starting an app. I mean, she's got a lot on her plate, but I think these are all impressive endeavors that I'm excited to see her flesh out. And
if she has a weed, I would definitely rip that thing.
Fair enough. I mean, I'm sure she'd be able to find a nice blend of both CBD and THC. Keep it balanced.
Listen, we've been a little all over the place.
Yeah.
I don't want to blame that on the weed, but
I think it's safe to.
I want to real quick get into the Roco ad. What do you think about that? It's a cheaper Ozempic.
Yeah, it's an affordable option for people looking to lose weight through this new miracle drug, Ozempic. I think there's some other chemical term like Ogilvy or OGL1 or something like that. There's a new drug on the market, and it's been out for some time for people who are more well off and can afford it. But now Roco is something that's more affordable for the everyman.
Well, hasn't Ozempic prices kind of been negotiated by the government, or is that not kicked in yet? I remember seeing something about that.
I think it's become lowered over time, but I think there's even
still
more
pretty
affordable
ridiculous,
options. Yeah. And Haliey's doing a great job of pitching this to her listeners. This ad read, though, is interesting.
I thought that her ad read was great, but I thought I was watching someone in the damn Scotland Yard. She was like in front of a green poker wall.
She was in a big leather lazy boy.
Huge lazy boy. But it was like Gilligan's Travels or something. Like she had just teleported to this island of giants.
But the ambiance in that room really just felt stuffy. Felt like maybe like a smoke-filled room even.
Maybe they just had a priest come in and do a...
Yeah, we're talking like emerald walls.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm sure they saged it because there were no apparitions there.
The Yalta conference could have been happening a few feet over. It felt like some old school kind of lounge, which was interesting. Interesting place to pitch Roco, but I'm considering it.
And then after that, we had Wiz, who was asked, Chelsea's first kind of question about his craziest moment when he got high. Maybe it was like the craziest thing you've done ever on drugs. It was obviously it was like phrased differently, and we've already talked about this. But again, I do think it was so clever and such an incredible way to screen a guest, to ask them the same question twice and just see if they give you the same answer twice. And look, here's the thing. I mean, I'm not trying to bust Wiz's balls. I'm just saying, let's go in the room and let me ask you the question. And you tell me. Chelsea won't be there. Haliey won't be there. Jamie, their manager, won't even be there. No camera ops. You just tell me, to my face, man to man, what's the craziest moment you've ever had while high? And don't fucking lie.
Yeah. I mean, which do you think he would answer with? If you had a guess, would it be that
the man from somewhere between Germany and England? I don't know, man.
Or, yeah, I mean, did he think that he could have been a famous rapper? That was his most groundbreaking thought while high? Because these are two groundbreaking thoughts. It's just, I want to know which one holds up to which one you can hold up to the light and really,
right.
Verify.
Obviously, one is probably better than the other, but that's for him to tell us, right?
Yeah.
After that, we got into a little bit of Haliey's solipsism.
Yeah.
She believes the world is a goldfish bowl.
Yeah, I think that's interesting because just last episode, the conversation about flat Earth versus round Earth theories came up between Haliey, Pookie, and Chelsea. And Pookie weighed in. He says, clearly, we've got to be living on a round Earth. Chelsea agreed, but Haliey kept a little quiet. And I think this was her saying, a fish bowl, it's round. Bowls are typically round. I think it was her nod to being like, yeah, of course I agree with what Pookie and Chelsea were saying last episode, what a lot of scientists have said over the years. I think, yeah, we live on a round Earth. So it was nice to get closure on that matter, I think.
Yeah.
But it was also a solipsistic.
That's kind of what I read it as for sure, because it's kind of like, is it solipsism, though?
I think it's anti-solipsism.
Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it a little bit more, where it's just like, you're just
her point was that she feels like aliens are watching us.
Yeah. It almost felt a little, it was kind of zany. It was out there. It reminded me of Dennis's turtle theory. We're on the back of some turtle from It's
Dennis
Always
Leary?
Sunny.
Oh, yeah.
Or so, I don't know. It's just, it almost felt like, I really wish she just had more time to kind of explore
Flesh that out. Yeah.
And maybe we'll get that.
Yeah, not this episode, but maybe there's another episode where she's doing more of the smoking and we get to see her explain her thoughts.
We got to hear a little bit about Wiz being a girl dad, which I thought was an interesting expression. That
former boy dad now turned girl dad. But he does also still have his son, an 11-year-old boy named Sebastian.
And
but now
Cadence,
he's a girl
his daughter.
Dad. Yeah. And things are going strong with him and Cadence's mother. And, I mean, I'm happy for them. Wiz seemed pretty excited about it. He's pretty excited about being a father in general. And he's excited to teach his son game. He's excited to raise his daughter right. He's trying to turn his house into the fun house where his kids' friends all want to hang out at, and it feels like a fun, safe environment.
This section was interesting because it was labeled, I wrote this down, Haliey grills Wiz on what type of dad he'll be, but unfortunately I feel like she really didn't push back as much as I wanted her to, right? Because she was talking to Wiz about him being a father, and the only thing she kind of pushed back on was, what would you do if, your son brought home, if your daughter brought home a guy, kind of, would you be cool? And he's like, yeah, I'd be cool. And she says, would you be cool? And he says, yeah, I'd be cool. But
you wanted her to push back further.
Obviously.
To really earn that grilling verb that's in the show description.
I just kind of wanted to get more out of Wiz in that moment of, what does it mean to you to be a dad?
Yeah.
And what kind of parental figure do you see yourself being? He said he'd be very lackadaisical.
Yeah, but
almost very free markety.
He did make it clear that he would draw the line at his son becoming a gangbanger. He made
that was the distinction,
clear, which I think that's a fair line to draw.
Sure. I mean, I think that's where my parents drew the line with me too. If I ever got into gangbanging, that's when, I'd get some
stern discipline.
Sure, and I think any kid, them gangbanging would really be the furthest they could go.
Yeah, I think it would that would sound a lot of alarms for parents. They'd finally be like, oh, it's time to check in. Maybe we have been too hands off.
It's worth a conversation when your kid gets into gangbanging because, that's when you really need to say, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And talk to me as a friend.
Yeah. Say,
right?
This isn't the road you want to go down. This is, there's a lot of danger behind this. A lot of people are going to get harmed, including yourself. It's just like, let's pick up some, let's join the JV varsity or something else. Let's pick up an instrument.
Yep. Cross country.
Yeah, there's a lot of other outlets. And I think it's nice to know that Wiz will encourage his son to explore these other avenues.
Well, I know he wants them to wait to start smoking until they're older, a certain age, which I actually found interesting because we live in a culture where kids, in Europe, maybe in the area between England and Germany, I don't know, they're allowed to have wine when they're younger.
Yeah.
So when they're older, they don't go crazy. Do you think that smoking should be any different?
Yeah, I think so.
Why?
Granted, I feel like I have immunity to weed. I don't really feel the effects whenever I do smoke it, unfortunately. But I don't think kids
Well,
you're also
there's a piece of
macaroni.
There's a piece of macaroni.
I am smoking through a blunt of macaroni, but I also the other times I've tried smoking weed, it's never done much for me, and I wish I understood the appeal a bit more. I feel like I would probably enjoy the culture of weed, but I don't think I do think kids should probably develop a bit before they are exposed to weed or like
strong.
smoking it themselves.
It's a gateway drug. It is.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be authoritarian.
No, and I'm not advocating for kids smoking marijuana.
I'm not trying to start a next weed panic or what was it called? The that era where there was a lot of concern over weed and marijuana, reefer madness. I'm not trying to start a new bygone era of reefer madness. I just think that look, there's probably a more appropriate age to start a kid on weed than like 7.
So around 12:26, we were visited by the ghoul again.
Yeah, the ghoul did find its way back into the studio. What was it at this one? Was it just outside the window again? See, that's scary because who knows when it might enter the room. We just don't know when we might see the ghoul like finally charge in and make an attack on Haliey or Chelsea or a guest of the week. But aside from that, we also learned that Wiz won't be able to teach his kids how to change a tire just yet. He himself doesn't know how to change a tire. It shocked Haliey to learn that. I think she came into this interview expecting that Wiz would know how to change a tire. There wasn't a test at the end.
He's got AAA on speed dial on his phone. That's
yeah,
good.
I mean, I don't know how to change a tire. I mean, I'd love to learn. Wiz was open to learning. Maybe we could attend a class together. Wiz, if you're listening. But do you know how to change a tire?
I've done it a couple times with my dad. But again, I think the thing is, that's what highway patrol is for.
Yeah.
On paper, at least,
Yeah, I mean, we are paying taxes. We should be able to get serviced by men who can change a tire. Or women who can change a tire.
So we find out this episode that Wiz's real name is Cameron.
Yeah.
A little serendipitous.
Yeah. Did you feel any specific way when that was revealed?
Well, here's where it gets a little interesting.
Okay.
I did feel a little way because I'm hearing him say his name's Cameron, and that's my name. So I read that as, well, that's cool because that's me.
Yeah.
But now he said, when he was asked who his favorite rappers were, it's a similar line of thought. He said, Cameron.
Yeah.
Now, why would he say Cameron? Because it's his name, Cameron. And then I thought that was cool because my name's Cameron. So it's a trickle-down effect.
Well, do you have a favorite rapper?
Yeah, it probably would be Cameron.
Yeah. I mean, it was also interesting because there was like a two-sided answer there where Wiz said Cameron and also Snoop. And I know the entire episode, Wiz is smoking marijuana. I know that's one of Snoop's big brand angles.
Oh, I see.
He's very big into smoking marijuana. And I think maybe Wiz is just borrowing from both Cameron, or he just sees himself in both Cameron and Snoop.
Yeah.
Based on name and, just pastime.
I can see that. And actually, I do want to answer
unwind.
genuinely. My favorite rapper is probably Kid Laroi.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, he's an incredible talent.
I heard he wears cheetah print panties.
Where'd you hear that?
No, I'm just making that up.
Oh.
I'm curious what he wears, though.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that could be what's in Pookie's DMs. Maybe Pookie is DMing Kid Leroy trying to get the answer, too.
Pete, I want to play ball with you a little bit right now.
Yeah, of course.
What do you think about Haliey fighting JoJo Siwa?
I don't know. I'm tired of the fighting in today's society. I get why it's exciting to watch.
Yeah.
I'm just like, it doesn't do it for me. It does not scratch that itch. You know, if Haliey and JoJo want to face off, I think that could be fun.
But let's say they were together in the cage.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't watch if I'm being honest.
But break that down for me. What do you see it looking like?
Well, I guess we would have to watch it as dutiful commentators. I just, I wouldn't choose to voluntarily. I just think they would probably get into a bit of a scuffle.
Yeah.
I think they'd probably trade blows.
I think a lot of it is just going to, turn into who's the better grappler.
Yeah.
Right? Once they get down on the ground. And Wiz was saying she definitely has a chance of securing a victory if she can use her, what he said, bony elbows and knees. And yeah, I mean, look, the thing is, with these if they were to get into the octagon or something,
yeah,
it comes down to who's the better wrestler. Excuse me.
I mean, I guess we'll keep our ears and eyes peeled for when that fight actually gets
hit the spaghetti
regulated. Yeah, I mean, I had enough of my SpaghettiOs. It just doesn't do shit for me. I'm sorry, man.
No, it's okay.
I mean, maybe next. Is it doing anything for you?
The first one definitely did. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if the macaroni is just blocking this one fully.
Yeah, I got to put some sauce on that thing.
Yeah, I don't like. Is that an LA thing, or is that like a
the macaroni?
Typical joint thing? Yeah,
I've never seen macaroni in a joint.
It seems new, and I don't know if that's just like a regional thing or what. It's kind of frustrating though. I think it's important to bring up the moment, or well, actually, the fact that Wiz got his name. It's short for wisdom.
Yeah.
Apparently that's what he was called around his family. I think he said that his family always speaks. They have pretty large vocabularies, and Wiz grew up learning a lot of words, and then he was given the nickname Wisdom.
Yeah.
And then it was shortened to Wiz, and then that's where the Wiz comes from in Wiz Khalifa. I don't know where Khalifa comes from. I wish they would have asked him that.
Yeah, they didn't really touch on that.
Yeah, but they did touch on the the cult classic Mac and Devin Go to High School, which they voiced. Haliey and Chelsea both seemed to be enamored with this film. They voiced that they would love to see a sequel happen.
Yeah.
Wiz he hinted that it's possible. I mean, he said
he
he had a
not
lot
out
of fun on the set.
No.
Yeah, and looking into it, Mac and Devin Go to High School is based on two high schoolers who get into all kinds of trouble. And that begs the question, if the title is that they go to high school, were they already going to high school before the story of the movie started to take place?
So it would have to start in the morning where they're eating breakfast before they go to school. And then the sequel
oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, just on the minute kind of day-to-day level.
That's what else would it be? Yeah, literally going to high school. And then
maybe they could have been middle schoolers who were going into high school.
That could be it too, but I guess I'm wondering, what would the sequel... Does the movie stop?
Go to college?
At fourth period or something? Okay.
Oh. Yeah, I mean,
where does the second one pick up? What loose ends could there be?
Could be like second semester of high school. Or
yeah,
it could be like after winter break. There's a lot of ways to spin that, which, I mean, I saw in the Wikipedia that critical reception was overwhelmingly negative, which, I mean, I think that's to be taken for granted, I think, for the fact that this is just a film that's for the people. For people to enjoy, have fun, laugh at. Critics can have their way with it in the reviews. They can say whatever. They can slander it however they want.
It's big Hollywood versus the people, man.
Of course.
I mean, we hit this
time after time
theme a lot because, it's like people like Pookie come to LA and they get rejected by Soho House.
Yeah.
There's a clear divide between, what's actually popular and what privately owned studios think is popular.
Yeah. A lot of bullshit from them.
Yeah, I mean, they're very snub-nosed, especially with critics.
Yeah.
Turning their brows down to anything that's fun and lively. And something that Chelsea just wants a sequel to,
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to see Mac and Devin go to high school so that I could catch up on the first one and then enjoy a second one. I'd love to see a sequel happen.
Yeah.
And it was interesting that Wiz didn't quite shut it down. He said he had a lot of fun filming it with Snoop Dogg.
He also said he'd never throw his hands on Snoop Dogg, so I think that's a man that certainly, I could see him as some sort of a mentor.
I think there's
perhaps a very good friend.
Yeah.
A big brother of sorts.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah, of course.
Chelsea revealed that she would fight Haliey, but Haliey wouldn't fight Chelsea. What do you think about that moment? I thought it was really tender.
I'm sure that's what a lot of the headlines are about, that Chelsea's willing to fight Haliey, and Haley's a little tepid on it. But, I mean, I thought that was definitely a fragile moment where it was a glimpse into maybe like some tensions that's been building up in their relationship. Mm-hmm. I hope it doesn't bubble into anything bigger. I think they were great friends. I think they are a role model for plenty of friends out there. And I think that, I wish that Chelsea maybe held back on that comment. Didn't quite throw that out there. The fact that she's willing to fight Haliey. Excuse me.
But it's unfortunate, right? Because this episode, it just felt like Chelsea was Dobby, I mean, in Harry Potter...
Under the Nordstrom rack.
Classically, Dobby lives under the stove, and Chelsea was just sitting there in front of a freaking merch rack.
Yeah.
She's kind of just in the corner, thrown to the wolves, and she's holding down the fort.
She is.
She's asking the question. Great questions.
I mean, Haliey was asking questions, too.
But I think Chelsea definitely serves to keep them,
on their toes, keep them engaged.
She throws in curveballs, too, and she doesn't... Here's the thing about this podcast, right? You see a lot of people with podcasts, they just want to be part of a certain class of people.
Yeah.
They want to have...
The podcasting class.
They want to have these podcasting titans on their show. And to differentiate them from traditional media, you would think that they wouldn't throw them softball questions. You would think that they would actually interview them and grill them. It's a different type of thing. But the whole thing is to get into that class of people, they have to softball them. Yeah. They have to welcome them on and let them just say their shit.
You're arguing that the podcasting working class is cozying up too much to the ruling class.
I think a lot of the podcasting class wants to be the elites.
Yeah. They're hoping to climb their way out of the podcasting working class.
I think so. And look, the thing is...
And like pull up the ladder behind them.
Yeah, well, in conversing with these elites, in reality, the only way they can do it and hang around them is if they don't challenge them.
Yeah.
So with Haliey and Chelsea, they are challenging people.
Yeah.
And they are throwing curveballs. And they are making people be like, what did you just say to me?
Yeah. And you think that's creating tension between them because, blame gets passed around when maybe a guest isn't quite happy with an interview. Mm-hmm. And maybe there's just, Haliey and Chelsea just are under a lot of pressure to keep the fire on, to keep blazing their trail.
And Chelsea really does that. I mean, she hits
Chelsea
people
is
across the face with these questions.
Chelsea is impeccable at when it comes to just like not being afraid, not holding back in her, like not interrogations, but just in her lines of questioning. And it's a shame to see if them kind of like face some tension, but I trust that they'll heal.
Look, they're also in different places because Haliey has a Pookie. Chelsea said this episode that she doesn't really want a Pookie.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Look, I mean, we were actually approached with this kind of hypothetical earlier this week. Ann Primballs Enjoyer 420 on TikTok.
Incredible member of our community.
Yeah.
Really glad for his support. Ann Primballs, thank you.
Yeah. They raised the question, or raised the hypothetical, what if Matt Rife and Chelsea got together?
Yeah.
Keeps Matt Rife off of Haley's back. Keeps Matt Rife off of Pookie's back. Haliey and Pookie can be happy together, and Chelsea and Matt can, do their own thing, and it could pave the way for some really fun double dates. Which I do really like that idea. I was a little upset to learn that Chelsea's not looking for a Pookie right now, but I don't know. If she actually met Matt Rife and like got to know him a little bit better. I mean, aside from the fact that he's just fucking hilarious, I think she would probably just quickly be charmed in any kind of conversation or outing with him and probably change her mind on having a Pookie in this current moment.
I think, look, it's fun to have a crush.
Yeah.
It's fun to have a crush. It's fun.
Exciting.
And, maybe for Haliey, that's all Matt can be right now. And it's just, he's a fun crush. She's with
call
Pookie.
him a crush.
Oh, come on.
Okay,
It's
I'll
fun
give
to
you
have a
crush. I'll give you crush. I don't even want to open this can of worms.
Give me crush. He's hysterical. He's her crush.
Yeah, sure. Everyone has a crush on Matt, so it's not saying much.
Okay, but listen, if there's one comedian you had a crush on, who would it be?
Matt Rife.
Okay. That's all I'm saying.
All I'm saying is that it doesn't mean anything when Haliey has a crush on him, because everyone has a crush
but it's like a cute thing. I think we can equate it. It doesn't have
It's a drop in the bucket.
It's a drop in the bucket, but for it to actually be a romantic fling, I think that's where Chelsea comes in.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what I agree with you there. And I'm excited to hear that you kind of embrace that theory as well. Or
yeah. I mean, obviously I'm pretty staunch in my positioning, but I'd like to entertain.
Keep holding on to that.
I mean, think about it. You got Haliey, you got Pookie,
yeah,
Chelsea, boom, Matt Rife.
Yeah.
They walk into a place and they breathe air into it.
Yeah. I think it would just be any kind of fun outing for the four of them. They would light up the town. And, yeah, they know how to party. I mean, we might see Harley. Pookie might be on a date with Harley by the end of the night. Haliey's, alter ego when she gets a little drunk.
There was a Manscaped rerun ad during this episode. How did you feel about that?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that they brought Pookie back in for this episode to do this one ad read, and then I realized there's a line where they say, or Haliey mentions Pookie looking right for the fight this week, and I realized that they were talking about Jake Paul and Mike Tyson's fight that happened last week, and is this episode, the rest of this episode was released.
It's chronologically deficient.
Yeah, and that's when I realized that this was a rerun of the ad read from last week's episode where Pookie was introduced. Pookie was the main guest for the entire episode of episode 10.
I mean, look, we know he works construction. He's probably busy. He probably didn't have the time to record a fresh ad.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. They probably just had to work with what they had.
Yeah. And, the rest of the ad, went off without a hitch. We didn't have much to say about it last week either.
Manscaped, I think I think it's a great ad read. Again, I think it is a power couple delivering it.
The chemistry is there. It feels real. They're asking about their own personal relationship. They're mentioning like shaving each other.
Later in this episode, Haliey reveals that a guy DM'd her a picture of his girlfriend naked, spread eagle.
Yeah, they're talking about DM experiences. Wiz's DMs are fairly tame, he says, compared to Haliey's. That one was pretty provocative. I don't know what was going on in that guy's life with him and his girlfriend that he sent Haliey this picture. I don't know if, maybe the girlfriend was in on it. I guess they.
I think she would have had to be. Yeah.
Yeah, I would certainly hope so. I don't even know how Haliey knew that was his girlfriend. Maybe he clarified in the message. He sent a text along with the photo.
I can't quite put my finger on it. I don't know if he's trying to flirt. I don't know if it's a weird, like, hey, I'm interested in something more, or if it's just some weird kind of crazy way of saying hi. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
Maybe he's from the land between, England and Germany. Maybe that's how they do things over there. I don't know.
He might have just been checking in.
Speaking also of DMs, I think it was a pretty wild reveal that Haliey's been getting love letters from a man named Wayne.
Yep. A 50-year-old man named Wayne has been sending letters to Haliey and Chelsea, including photos of them that he's found on the internet, asking if they can sign stuff and send it back to him. But apparently these letters are pretty thoughtful. They appreciate the fan mail.
Do you think Pookie has a right to go through those if she's not looking in his DMs? Can he look at those? I mean, her actual mail?
Yeah, if she wants to share them with him, I'm sure.
Comes down to communication, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's all it ever usually boils down to. And I mean, it's nice to know that Wayne is out there. He apparently, he's concerned about them at times, but he's excited for their continued success, the growth of the podcast. And it's nice to know that Haliey has something of a pen pal.
Well, right. And also with Wiz even coming on the show, I thought that was kind of interesting the way we learned of how that came to be. It was Haliey's team reached out to his team, and then he accepted it and he came on, and he was kind of giving her some advice to be careful of clout chasers, which I thought was a little...
Yeah, that's right.
Kind of funky.
Yeah.
You don't think there's any... I mean, do you think he's coming on this podcast to kind of bolster his own fan base? Obviously, there's some ulterior motives. He talks about, right, the Trojan horse of his own weed brand. He talks about his new album coming out, Orange Juice and Kush 2?
Kush and Orange Juice.
Kush and Orange Juice 2. So do you think he came down to have an earnest conversation, or do you think there were other forces at play? What's your breakdown on that?
I think he was there for fun.
Sure.
I think he was there to get to know Haliey.
Can you mix a little business with fun?
Of course you can. I think he was just warning her to take heed against people who might be coming on for just to pitch, just to hawk.
Yeah.
And I think that he was just... I think Haliey appreciated the advice. I thought it was good advice. I think that was pretty sound suggestion on Wiz's part.
Well, look, can you mix business with a little bit of fun?
Yeah, I think so. And I think that's what Wiz came on to do. And I think he juggled the two well. I think it's pretty easy to, have your fun and also do your business.
Right. It's not like he was there giving her elevator pitches the entire time.
No, of course not. And speaking of mixing fun with business, I mean, we learned that he had the chance to DJ at the Patriots ring ceremony at Robert Kraft's house.
Tom Brady.
This was the craziest party he's been to.
Do you think Gronk was there?
I'm sure Gronk was there. He's a pretty pivotal member of the Patriots team.
Yeah.
And this seemed like a crazy night. They get into a bit of party talk. We learned that Tom Brady was dancing to Migos. I thought that was a fun little thing to visualize.
It seemed like a fun event. Wiz said he got his own green room in the back, pitch made out of tents. He said he was going pretty hard drinking.
Yeah.
Which then he clarified, he's going to get hungover.
Yeah, they talk about hangover cures. He says just, having things delivered to him, taking it easy.
And he does, he smokes a little bit of pot.
Yeah.
For his hangovers. It's a hair of the Kush, or...
Yeah.
Hair of the
pooch.
Yes, there it is. And what do we get anything? Oh,
well, we learned that he recently threw a wild party for Halloween.
Project X 2.0.
Yeah, he was dressed as Napoleon Dynamite, and then called it an early night where he let the party rage on, but he just went to another room, a little quieter area, and took a nap.
But this was probably again my watershed moment was Haliey talked about her Maid of Honor at the wedding, Maid of Honor being Wiz and not Chelsea.
Well, she asked Wiz first if he would officiate her and Pookie's wedding, and he said, yeah, sure. And then she just took it a step further. Why don't you be the Maid of Honor too? Which I don't even know how that would work out.
She mentioned she wanted to see him in a dress, which he didn't feel comfortable with. Yeah. He stated that verbally.
It felt like Haliey trading a barb back with Chelsea for the earlier snipe, where Haley's saying, look, if you're gonna say that you want to fight me, I'm gonna find someone else to be my Maid of Honor. This has to be a role given out based on just pure trust and comfort in this person that I'm giving this important role to at my wedding.
Do you think it almost in a way she was giving Chelsea what she wanted and bringing her to fisticuffs and saying, you want to fight? Here, take this. Here's a jab. Why don't you play with it? Because I think, obviously, there's a podcasting studio.
Yeah.
If you're gonna fight, it's a sword of the tongues. You know what I mean? So for them to kind of go back and forth like that, a little bit of bickering. Brawl. Yeah. Do you feel like that could have been a moment where Haliey was trying to satisfy Chelsea's kind of wanting to just wrestle a little bit, get dirty?
Yeah, I mean, we know that Chelsea will fight at the whim of anything. She doesn't need any extra impetus to fight Haliey, apparently, based on earlier in the conversation. And I think it's clear that she also doesn't need any extra reason to go party. I mean, she was quick to suggests that Haliey, Wiz, and her go out and see Broadway whenever Wiz goes on tour for his new album and hits Nashville.
Is that a street in Nashville or something, or are they referring to like?
Well, I think they may probably have a musical theater district in Nashville, and I think that's probably what Chelsea was suggesting they go visit and show Wiz around to. I think that could be a fun night out. I think they could get dinner and a show, just take it easy and enjoy some good theater. And it seems, they know how to party. It seems like they know the hot spots in Nashville.
They know the hot spots, and Wiz is dressed for it.
Yeah.
Earlier in the episode, he said the only clothes he wears are clothes that can be thrown up on, given the fact that he's a girl dad now.
Yeah.
But so I think, obviously that would come in handy when going out and about on town, where maybe people have a little bit too much booze. They're gonna puke. They're gonna go guts up.
Yeah.
Not long after that, we move on to a Better Picks ad in which they celebrate the fact that you can 2000x your money. What do you think about that?
I imagine it's better than 1000xing your money.
Yeah, which is what they were previously offering. So this is definitely a leg up on that.
It's a good time to download the Better app.
I think so. Moving on from that, though, was a really great moment.
Yeah, we see Haliey playing a bit of music that she created herself, playing it, getting Wiz's ears on it. He was pretty impressed. He's grooving along to it. It says, that shit's awesome. And I thought that was a probably gratifying moment for Haliey. I think it's a sign that pretty soon she could be DJing at Robert Kraft's house for a Patriots ring ceremony.
Yeah.
I think, it was nice to see Haliey show off another talent that she's been keeping hidden for quite some time so far.
But this was also another moment of duplicity.
Yeah.
For Wiz, because she said, how do you like it? How do you like my music? And he says, oh, it's great. I'm going to get high to this. And starts sucking on that puff. Yeah,
that was a bit of a faux pas.
Now, let's break this down. The whole episode he was smoking. Why do you smoke? To get high?
I think he'd gone through two joints so far through the entire episode. He was passing.
It's certainly enough to get you high, is it not?
Yeah, I imagine.
I mean, I have a little bit of this, penne puff, and
You're feeling it.
Sure.
Wow.
Sure, I'm feeling it. So the fact that this guy said,
I'm going to get high listening to this music. I want to smoke and get high listening to this music. And he pulled out another joint indicating he was going to do it. This was going to be his first smoking moment of the episode.
Clearly a slap in the face.
Yeah, I don't know. Was it all fake? Was he smoking blanks for the entire episode up till this point? I didn't really know what to make of that.
Well, I mean, look, here's the thing, though. Yeah. This is what happens when Chelsea caught him red-handed earlier in the app. And now Haliey got him.
Yeah, and we also learned just around that time in the episode that he's got a top-secret, state-of-the-art joint rolling machine. He's got some kind of mechanism. I don't know if it's a Rube Goldberg-type machine device that he puts 100 joints into, but puts in all the grass that he needs in his joints, and it rolls them all at once. Keeps it super simple for him.
Yeah, and it does it in 10 seconds.
Yeah, and Chelsea, she's got consumer envy in her eyes. She's like, what is this? Where can I get it? And Wiz is like, oh, I can't tell you that. What is that about?
I don't know if this is part of some MK Ultra top secret government program or something like that. And again, maybe this is a consumer staple in, of course, the land between England and Germany.
Of course, that famous region.
But I think the thing ultimately with Wiz is that there's a lot more to the picture than we see. It's almost as if we need a sequel to fully, get everything from Wiz.
Yeah.
Okay? So
he anoints his Talk Tuah rolling tray. He teaches Haliey how to roll joints, which was, I thought, a pretty nice moment between them.
I think she owes him showing how to change a flat.
Yeah. That would be a fun little trade-off.
That'd be a great trade. And she also endowed him with a little bit of Southern wisdom.
Yeah.
And I thought was really thought-provoking phrase. If you drop your joint, that means your bitch is cheating on you.
Yeah, it seems like a bit of an old wives' tale, which, I mean, I don't know if there's any way to prove whether it's true or not, but it's a fun thing to believe. Wiz kind of got he got a little unsettled by that because he drops his joints all the time. And Haliey tried calming, soothing him by saying, like, oh, then we won't believe that for this.
But not his lighter. His lighter is literally like strapped onto his pants.
Yeah, he's got some kind of mechanism for a lighter. It looked like a bit of a grappling hook attached to his waistline, where he keeps the lighter at all times close to him. Haliey goes to, she asks to light her joint, and Wiz tells her to be careful not to just let go of it because it'll just slap him in the nuts, ping him right there, which
that's gotta hurt.
Yeah, I understand why he is a little wary of that.
But he was getting really nitty gritty with the rolling technique, and it was kind of an upsetting moment. Again, I just get so frustrated by the technicals, right? Because if there's ever a time for a wide shot, now's not the time. When he's showing a very delicate, he's talking about making 3 W's before you roll the blunt or whatever.
You make a crook or a
crevice ravine. There's ravines, crevices. But we can't see any of it because there's no close-up. And also, we got a moving camera. So
why couldn't we do this?
Where did that guy go?
Yeah, and we also had Chelsea on camera duty. When Haliey was playing her music, Chelsea whips out her phone, is recording
some found footage.
Yeah, Wiz dancing, Haliey playing the music. We never see her camera angle. Lost footage. Who knows where that ended up. Did not make it into the episode. But we had Chelsea's camera too. Could have been filming close up on Wiz's rolling technique. And I think the viewers would have gotten quite a bit from that.
Yeah.
For us, we were just taking his word for it, that he was doing this W technique and then making the crook or the crevice canyon. And I hope he was doing it. It seemed like it came out all right, but I wish we could have learned just how to do it.
And again, this is the thing. Podcasts, there's a visual aid for a reason.
Yeah.
I can't imagine anything I'm hearing. Just show me it. I want to see it, please. Yeah. So for that...
I want to be able to follow along as closely as you're trying to get me to follow along.
Yeah. So a little bit of a frustrating end with some of the technicals, but overall, I thought it was a great episode with the girls, as always.
Even with their tiff, a little bit of a rumblings of some fraught moments in their friendship. But
it's nothing compared to what I think a JoJo Siwa cage match would look like.
Yeah, of course. I don't think Haliey and Chelsea will actually come to a fight. I think their friendship is secure. Not that Haliey and JoJo aren't friends, but I think they're doing it because they're both compelled to.
Yeah.
And I'm excited. I'm not excited, but I'm excited to cover it. I don't care about watching the Haliey JoJo fight, but I am excited about the prospect of covering that with you. And yeah, I think this was a fun episode. Wiz brought the energy this episode. He answered those questions, to the best of his ability. I mean, he'll give him one answer one moment, another answer the next, but. Hey, we got 2 answers for 1 question. That's bang for your buck, I guess.
Sure, you're not going to get that from most guests.
Yeah.
And again, I think this guy told us as much as he's willing to tell us.
Yeah.
He comes from a real kind of seeming like Jack Reacher type past,
Yeah.
Grew up kind of this spy-esque, all over the place.
Yeah.
Look, I've inhaled too much macaroni to be doing the outro. So, listen, if you want to take photos of yourself while you're watching this,
please do.
Tag us. We will repost it. Let us know what you think while you're watching it.
Yeah. And, hopefully next week there won't be any more visitations from specters in the studio. Hopefully it's not haunted.
Please, let's get a priest, a Roman Catholic priest in there to do an exorcism. Let's sage it. Let's put some Palo Santo in there. Let's move studios.
Yeah.
Let's get out of LA. I think this is a city with a wretched past.
Yeah.
That have crushed a lot of people's dreams. And, I think there's a lot of souls still wandering out here. And
on some ethereal plane.
They all wish the best for Haliey, as do we.
Yeah.
Which is why we're following her. And
you follow along with us. We got some more episodes on our burners in our bank.
Because we're catching up to episode 9. We have to catch up all the way up to episode 9, but we are going to be covering these ones as they come out.
Yeah, just to stay in the zeitgeist, keep it topical. We were excited to cover Wiz. We're excited to see who comes on to episode 12. We hope you'll tune in to our companion podcast next week as well. We love doing this, and yeah, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
Watch her episodes first. Come to us after. Bye.